Agentic AI startup Sierra is hosting its first customer conference today in San Francisco. And joining us right now to talk all things AI, Bret Taylor. He's the co-founder and CEO of Sierra. He's also the chair of OpenAI's board of directors and so many other things. Created Google Maps, the like button on Facebook. I mean, I don't know what else. What else? The resume is long, Bret. Congratulations on today. Tell us about what you're announcing in terms of this new agentic agent.
Well, first, we're hosting a lot of our customers here in San Francisco, which is exciting. We have people like Rocket Mortgage who have put Rocket Assist on their homepage, an AI agent that can help you refinance your home. Cigna Healthcare, Madison Reed, if you're interested in getting your hair colored, they've 2x to the number of guests booking with their AI agent. So they're all getting together here in San Francisco, sharing notes, and then we have a lot of new products to announce. And as you mentioned before the break, our big announcement is something we call Agent Data Platform, which is a really fancy way of saying we're making agents that have memory and can really personalize their conversations, not just over days, but over months and years. You can think about it as moving from these AI agents that are customer service to AI agents that are really concierges for your brand that can help you not just with service, but with sales as well. We think this is really exciting just because we think every company's AI agent is going to be more important than their website in a handful of years, and we're the platform to help you build it.
So what's that look like? I will tell you about an experience I had over the weekend. I had a flight that was canceled given the government shutdown and the like, and of course I go on. I'll protect the innocent here. I won't tell you what airline it was necessarily, but I'm texting with the airline representative. It's a mess. I'm going back and forth. It's a long, drawn-out process. In the future, would there be a human on the other end of that, and would they remember me and whatever situation I had in the past and be able to actually do all the things, or what? How would this work?
Well, look, agents have some abilities that we don't have. They have perfect access to information. They can speak every language in the world. You don't have to wait on hold. So in those moments when things are hard, like your flight is canceled, it's such a humane and delightful experience to just talk to someone who's informative right then without having to wait on hold. So I think an agent could be a better experience then. Now, what an agent can't do is fix whatever was wrong with your airplane or solve all of our problems with air traffic controllers. But what it can do is personalize that experience and make it more delightful. We had a guest speaker at the conference named Will Guidara, who wrote this book called Unreasonable Hospitality. He ran 11 Madison Park, and that was the place that did sort of famously what inspired The Bear. Essentially deeply listening to guests in your restaurant and delighting them with unexpected, personalized moments. So just imagine you're in the airport with your family, and the airplane offers you, a free coffee when you land. They, notice you're on their loyalty program, maybe give you some extra points. It's those things that an AI agent can do at scale. And just think about it this way. If you call a company on the phone, that phone call will cost about $25 today. And there's not that many customer interactions that are worth $25. Some companies' ARPU is less than $25. Now with AI, you can afford to have a personalized conversation with every single one of your customers, even if you have millions of customers. And those personalized conversations don't need to be transactional. This agent can help turn bad moments into good. They can take those paper cuts that just happen because life is hard and it's tough running an airport right now. And they can take some of that edge off and have you feel seen. And I think that's our vision with our platform. And you're seeing it across a pretty wide range of brands, which I'm really, really proud of.
So, Bret, here's the question I have, which is, the good news would be for the company side. I see that. Ultimately, by the way, I did get a flight by calling up and getting somebody on the phone who, by the way, spent maybe an hour on the phone with me, maybe longer, to try to get all this done. What I was going to ask, though, is, an AI agent invariably is going to be very rules-based. And I think actually the person that I landed on the phone, I think they followed all the rules, but they had to jump through about 100 different hoops and call other people to make things happen. And I wonder whether the AI would actually be able to do that.
Absolutely, it can. The word agent comes from the word agency, and it essentially means you're letting the computer be creative and make decisions. We like to say an AI agent, the difference between an AI agent and a chatbot is it's not just a set of rules, but goals and guardrails. And some of those guardrails can be, hey, you have the ability to break glass. So a great airline customer service representative, if you're going to see a sick family member, they'll break glass. They'll find a way to get you to your destination on time. And for the first time, technology can do that. And it's because AI agents and large language models aren't just executing a sequence of instructions really quickly. They have the ability to be creative, which is remarkable. And I mean, just to give you a sense, what I mentioned, Rocket Mortgage, this is an agent that's helping people with, I think, one of the most complex considered purchases, which is refinancing your home or buying a home. The people who interact with this AI agent are 4 times more likely to actually complete that process. And, we're not talking a little complex conversation. We're talking one of the most complex financial decisions you've ever made.
Right.
And it's because these agents are creative, they're empathetic. The Weight Watchers agent that powered by Sierra has higher empathy scores than the coaches in their call center. I mean, it's remarkable. And so I would just say, don't lower your expectations. I think when you talk to one of these agents, you should expect greatness, and that's what we're trying to produce in our platform.
Bret, can you speak to the economics largely of AI, not just Sierra, but maybe OpenAI and others? I think there's a lot of concern, a lot of excitement about the future of this technology and what it portends, but concern about the spending, the speed of that spending relative to the speed of profits and potentially a choke point down the line.
It's a smart question and a good question. I'll sort of give you the landscape right now. Like, why are we investing in all this compute infrastructure right now? It's because it's a limiting factor. So you use these large data centers for 2 parts of the AI pipeline, if you will. One is training the models, and the other is inference. With modern models like O3 and GPT-5, inference is particularly important. If you use ChatGPT, you'll see it think out loud. We call this chain of thought reasoning. And that's essentially using all of these GPUs at inference time. And so as a consequence, the growth of companies like OpenAI right now is really just limited by the size of the computer that we have to deploy this to the world. And so I think the world knows that AI is going to transform the economy, customer service, software engineering, legal. You can look, you don't need to be an economist to see it's having an impact already. And you say, okay, well, what's actually the rate limiter on that growth? And right now it's compute. And the challenge is, like all infrastructure build-outs that are long-term investments, you don't know when those lines are going to cross where you'll saturate demand. But right now, I remain an optimist. I do think that there's, I'm not saying all those investments are intelligent, by the way, like any sort of bubble environment. You have Amazon.com and you have Buy.com, they both
Right.
exist in the same investment cycle. But I would say I think the impact of this technology is tremendous. I don't think we can even see the end of its impact on the economy. And I think right now compute remains one of the scarce resources in AI. So I think a lot of smart people are really interested in saying, how big of a computer can we build so we can bring this technology to more businesses and more consumers?
What do you think the half-life in terms of depreciation of these chips really is? And I ask because that has a lot to do with the economics, meaning folks who are investing in an enormous number of NVIDIA chips at the moment. But there are some people who think, 3 years from now, 4 years from now, you effectively have to replace them. And that's a huge cost. And therefore, what is the value of those long term? It's not necessarily like laying down train tracks or fiber on the ground.
Yeah, also a smart question. And, I'm not sure I know specifically what sort of the depreciation cycle is for those chips. So I'd say a lot of these infrastructure buildouts are phased. So I have less anxiety about that just because I think as technologies change, as demand change, I think, the folks building out this infrastructure will shift to accommodate some of those technology changes. The other thing I'd just say is actually, I don't think we're moving to a world where there's just one model. I like to think of AI models right now as almost infrastructure on the internet. And there's not, one size fits all. If you're doing a low latency phone conversation like we do at Sierra, you might want a model that's very fast and, maybe relatively inexpensive. If you're doing, for example, fraud detection for credit cards and you're doing hundreds of billions of those every day, you definitely need it to be lower cost. On the other hand, if you're doing actuary sciences for an insurance firm, you don't mind thinking a while, right? You want the right decision. It doesn't matter, how much compute it takes. So as a consequence, both at the infrastructure layer and the model layer, I think you're going to see quite a mix of models sort of on this different cost, quality, latency, speed spectrum. And, engineers and applied AI companies like Sierra are going to mix and match those technologies to find the right model for the job. So I think it's a good question. I think given how phased these investments are, I think the free market will sort of figure it out. And I'm actually really excited to see the impact of AI once this compute infrastructure is built out.